Hello and welcome to Quick Take TA here on Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is April 18th, 2024, and we do have the close for the 18th and the open for the 19th in now. So the Friday candle is open, and I want to talk a little bit about this right here. This is the mempool, and up here we can see that the Bitcoin halving is going to occur in about 149 blocks. So that's roughly 24 to 25 hours, which would put Bitcoin's close coming in around 420. At least for the candle as it currently stands right now. There's about a 6 block difference, I believe, between closing the halving at block 840,000 on the 19th and the 20th there. So somewhere around late this Friday candle into early Saturday candle, we are going to see the halving occur. And, that is going to be a time of very high fees on the network. There's also runes launching and like all kinds of different stuff. So I would suggest that if you have transfers to make, you might want to do this before block 840,000, as there's going to be a lot of network congestion. All right, let's get into the analysis today, though. We can see since we last talked, Bitcoin has tested down into this monthly support again. This is the October of 2021 monthly close coming in at around 61,350 to the 58.8 level from March of 2021. Now, this level is specifically a monthly and quarterly close. Now, these were closing highs. So the closing high from October of 2021 was kind of where things came in and spiked the $69,000 level a month later. So that's the green area up here, the green horizontals up here. And then the March of 2021 monthly close came in at 58.8, and that was also a quarterly close. And that's where we did see in April, the very next month, we saw that spike up to $65,000. Now, Bitcoin is still playing on the lows into this support zone. We have seen expansion into this zone. So there's a few different interpretations to take away from this. Now, if Bitcoin does break back down below the daily lower second on any time frame like a 4 or 6 hour, then I would be looking for the possibility of Bitcoin running its current low, which is coming in at around 59,650 to the bottom side here. We do have a wick over here from March 5th coming in at 59,200 or so to that monthly quarterly zone at 58.8. Now, Bitcoin can Bitcoin can swing below rather, hit that meme pullback, the meme number for the pullback since the macro low back in December of 2022, I believe, November, December timeframe at $15,500 has been around 20 to 22%. So let's go ahead and revisit that because Bitcoin does like to repeat these things. So that is not out of the question. 20% puts Bitcoin right around this monthly at 58,000 to 58.8. So that is on the board, and that would fit the meme pullback criteria, and it's a major, major support. Now, Bitcoin can swing below it and hit around the 22% or even more. This is now, coming in somewhere around 57,000 to 57.5 at the 22% level. That would be your meme pullback, and then come right back into range. And if it does begin closing in this area, this area being the March of 2021 monthly and quarterly close, and this October of 2021 monthly close around the current daily lower second standard deviation, then, I would say criteria fulfilled for at least a meme pullback, but you still need to be aware of lower highs on the daily that result in possible breakdown below this area for any longer term timeframes. Now, if Bitcoin were to close a daily and higher term time frame below 58 to 58.8, or I would even say, in and around the meme pullback and not recover back into this area quickly, well, that would open up further downside on expansion. That further downside on expansion would be targeting right around the September of 2021 weekly swing high, where Bitcoin previously found resistance back here in February. To the actual weekly closing highs that came in August of 2021 and December of 2021, respectively, where Bitcoin found support prior to putting in the new all-time high at 73,835. So just be aware of that. Now, I am going to show you a few things that might be pointing to Bitcoin bottoming out right where it is, maybe another swipe lower, maybe the meme pullback. But if we do start seeing daily and higher term time frame closes below this monthly and quarterly zone, in general, we have to open up the target possibilities down to this 53 to 50K. So I wouldn't be surprised, basically, if Bitcoin went for those areas on any daily and higher term time frame closes below 58 to 58.8. Now, on the other side of that, if Bitcoin can recover above the daily lower first standard deviation, this is at $64,000. Now we have seen that area 64 to 64.5 where this wick low, this was the criteria that we were looking for. If Bitcoin broke down below around $65,000 to the prior higher lows, 64,500, we were looking for a run of this particular monthly zone. We have now seen that. If Bitcoin can recover above the lower first at around $64,000 and especially start closing any time frames like a 4 or a 6 hour above 64.5, then I would be looking for tests up to $65,000. If we do start seeing Bitcoin recover above there, keep an eye on the daily. If the daily closes above there, then we would be looking at a daily low set and possibly a major low set on the daily. And of course, we still have criteria that Bitcoin would have to meet in order to get continuation to the upside and possibly test the highs and higher again. But that would at least be encouraging for the bulls in this case. So closes above $64,500 to $65,000 on the daily would look good. You can start looking for that on the 4 and 6 hour closing timeframes below the daily in today and tomorrow's timeframes. Same for the downside. If Bitcoin starts breaking back below 61,350 and the lower second around 61K, we're looking in general for a run of the lows again at minimum. Back above 65, it would set that daily low, and I would be looking right to this wick high as it is lining up in the basis. This is the last really big swing high here at around $67,000, right in line with the daily basis band above there. And I would start looking for Bitcoin to potentially target the prior cycle all-time high at $69,000 to the upper first here in the shallow $70,000 area. If it can recover above there, I would raise my targets to the top side here, somewhere around $72,000 to the wick high at 73, right around that upper second standard deviation. If Bitcoin were to start closing above there, and specifically the criteria would be close above the upper second standard deviation and not just swing the all-time high, but close above it, then we would be looking for confirmed expansion to the upside, targeting somewhere around the upper third. I would give it some room there around $75,000 to $78,000. You have seen this before if you've watched my my streams, visited my YouTube channel, or watched any of my videos on X. But there is a fib to be pulled here if Bitcoin can hold the local range. And that is going to be for this downtrend if Bitcoin can basically hold the zero read. Otherwise, we extend it down a little bit more. But generally speaking, back above the all-time high here and above the daily upper second standard deviation, I would be targeting around $75,000 to the 1272, coming in at around $80,000. I'm sorry, $78,000 as a zone. So $75,000 to $78,000 as a zone. If Bitcoin can start closing above $78,000, then I would have a new zone to be interested in, and that would be 78 at the 1272 to the 1414 here at $80,000. If Bitcoin starts to close above there, then I'm looking to the mid to low $80,000 region, somewhere between the 1414 and the 1618, which is now coming in at $84,000 to $85,000. And then of course above there, we're looking to the deep $80,000, possibly shallow $90,000 region, with the 1786 coming in at $87,300, the 1888 coming in just shy of $90,000, and then the two spot now up there at around 91,300 to 400 or so. So this is, Bitcoin's playing right on the edge of supports. This is pretty typical of Bitcoin when in a consolidation. And I do want to remind you all that this is a consolidation. So we can see the sharp volume drop off. So this is one of two things. And I do think that if we do see Bitcoin break down, you are going to see substantial volume come in. And possibly if we don't see it come in and it starts swinging for the meme pullback, you're probably going to see it come in on any of the breakouts to the upside, take out those shorts. But if it does begin to get expansion to the downside, you're probably going to see that volume come in around the 53,000, maybe in the meme pullback area. Just be aware that that would be a technical breakdown if it did break down from this overall structure and lose the quarterly and monthly. But we are seeing what I would consider a very bullish consolidation, and it's getting ready to pop off pretty soon. I don't think it's imminent, like immediate, but you never know. Bitcoin can get moving when you least expect it. Now, the other big thing to be aware of is that Bitcoin does have the potential above that area that I talked about just a little while ago here at around $64 to $65,000. If it could start closing above around 64,500, which is that wick low again. This was our criteria from when Bitcoin was playing around the $69 to $73,000 area up here. That if Bitcoin broke down below, at that point we were looking for a technical breakdown to go test this low, but that was at 67,500 or so. But any further breakdown to go test those monthlies was at 64,500. That just happens to be the daily momentum pivot right now. It is still angled to the downside as Bitcoin plays around 63,125 or so. But if we do start seeing Bitcoin, get back up into that area and threaten to close a daily low or set a daily low, not just on a swing, but a close around 64,500 to $65,000, well, we would also see a momentum shift on the daily. Just keep in mind, it's got some other criteria to meet. Specifically above $65,000, it has to recover $67,000 and $69,000, as those are the big zones of interest to the upside above 65. So just keep an eye on it. It's going to be an interesting Friday for sure, but we can get a lead on what could possibly occur, and that's going to be the 12-hour here. This is one of my favorite setups. I'm going to show you the setup here. Doesn't mean that it's going to work 100% of the time, by the way, but we can see on the 12-hour that we did get expansion to the downside. So Bitcoin closed below the lower second standard deviation, initiating expansion to the downside. It bounced up and rejected the lower first. So this is trend remaining intact. And then what did it do? It came down and retested that lower second. I would not be surprised to see another retest of that lower second if Bitcoin does start to break down below $61,000 or so. On the 12-hour, any 12-hour closure below the lower first here, which is currently coming in at 62,850, so fairly close to price action right now, but there's a long time to go in this 12-hour candle. Excuse me. If we see a 12-hour close below there specifically, that would open up a swing of the current lows by the lower second standard deviation, which is coming in right around or just above that swing low that came in at 59,650 or so. That daily lower, 12-hour lower second rather, is coming in at around $59,800, $60,000, depending on your exchange. Now, if Bitcoin can set I need to see this close to really see this actually have further potential on the 12-hour here. Closes on the 12-hour above this close open here at 63,800, which just so happens to be this daily. This was a 12-hour and daily higher low over here that's lining up with this close open, and this is an order block candle between around 63.8 to where Bitcoin is currently trading around $63,000 or so. If Bitcoin can recover and close the next 12-hour candle above 63,800, that would be indicative of Bitcoin wanting to at least try for its local highs and higher here into that 64,500, which of course is that daily pivot. So keep that in mind. If we do see closures above there on the 12-hour, I'm targeting the basis band, which is between that first all-time high wick at $65,000 from the March timeframe of 2021 to around the basis band, which is just shy of the daily criteria here at $67,000. This is coming in at 65,800. If Bitcoin does move towards it, it's going to be more like 66. So that's also a close open on the 12-hour here, a lower high close open. Of course, it needs to take out that wick that is also a wick high on the daily at 67. And then we can start looking up to that upper first, which is right around $69,000, which of course we just talked about, one of the major monthly swing high zones in the previous all-time high from the prior cycle. Now, the Stoke is turned up. So this is momentum. This is a regular Stoke, not a Stoke RSI. Stoke RSI measures the velocity of RSI. This is measuring close over close price momentum. In this case, we can see that the momentum pivot is at 62, 325 right now. So any closures back below would turn this back down. Now, if it can remain closed above there, pressure to the upside, we don't have a very strong signal right now, and this is a counter trend signal at the moment. And we haven't seen what I would consider a very strong low being set. You will see most RSI indicators call this a low on the 12-hour. It has to meet additional criteria, specifically above 63.8 at minimum on a close. Locally, it has technically closed on a swing low and set a low, specifically above this wick at around $61,000. But I need to see that additional criteria fulfilled for me personally, around 63.8 to 64K, and then look for tests up to this prior higher low structure from the prior trend, and then come back to it later. And I would imagine that we would see this shift around pretty swiftly. So that is the setup. My personal opinion, not technical analysis, my personal opinion is I wouldn't be surprised to see it swing the current lows at minimum. If they do hold up, then, come back to it. And it's possible that this zone could become the major low zone. If not, we're looking for at minimum the meme pullback and any closes below the meme pullback zone, and we're looking for 50 to 53. Right now, though, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I wouldn't be fading support until I see it breaking down. So I'll leave you with that. You all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, as always, stay safe.